What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video we're going to do something that I like to call story time with C-Zar. In videos like this, I share my experiences across the 10 years that I've been investing in crypto now since 2015. I share my experiences, some of them good, some of them bad, and hopefully in efforts to give you guys something to take away to apply to your own experiences whenever it comes to the life-changing wealth that's going to happen across the crypto space. And there will be life-changing wealth. Every single one of you watching this video right now, if you're invested in crypto, you will see, if you just hold, if you just buy right now and you just hold, you will see 20x returns or more. But you get in your own way, don't you? The average person watching this video, as an investor, you get in your own way more often than anything else. You're the reason why instead of a 20x, a 50x, you settled for a 5x and you sold, or you took a 5x and then you sold the top, but then it kept going, and then you bought the high, and then it came down, and that 5x turned out to be a 2x, or you actually lost money. You're your own worst enemy whenever it comes to investing. And the purpose behind this story that I'm going to share with you is to hopefully really illuminate that, and illuminate what it takes to see significant returns. Every single one of you, I'm going to say it one last time, every single one of you right now watching this video is completely capable of at least seeing 20x returns between now and the end of this cycle if you're investing in altcoins. Alt season is coming. It's coming. It's right here, right? It's like Game of Thrones. Alt season's coming. We are, right? We've got our coats on. Alt season is coming. It is. It's almost here. It's almost here. It's actually right at the forefront of it now. And every single one of you has the absolute potential to make a 20x or more. You could see a 40x, a 50x, a 100x, a multi-100x, but along the way, there's going to be, let's call them obstacles, that will try to throw you off. And the purpose of this video is to really try to keep you saddled up, on track, locked in, so that you can make as much money as you can. You can squeeze that lemon for all it's worth in this coming alt run, okay? Hit the like button, subscribe, let's get into it, and I'm going to share with you guys now a story. Okay, I'm going to try to be as direct as I can because I like to sidetrack. I like to get sidetracked, so let's try and not do that so much here. So this is my story of investing in Dogecoin. And if you've been watching the channel for about a year, you've probably heard me tell this story before, but again, the moral is very important here, and I think it's something that all of us need a refresher on. I was thinking about it myself today. That way I'm prepared for the coming alt season as well. It's a very important moral to remember here, okay? We're not even talking about the fact that from here, from 00778 that I bought, this is where I bought, we're not even going to talk about the fact that I bought here and I didn't sell until we were at the high points, right? I didn't sell it perfectly, but I didn't sell any step along the way until after we had our all-time highs, okay? We'll get into that at the end of the story. But this is mainly about this part here, okay? What happened during this part here? I invested right before this move happened. I put enough money in there, I put several thousands of dollars in there, and by the end of this move, by the time we were at the top, I literally, in what was the course of like 24 hours, I had literally made, for the first time ever in my life, $100,000 in a 24-hour period. That was insane. It's crazy. And for anybody watching this, let me tell you right now, it's exhilarating. Making $100,000 in a 24-hour period is very exhilarating. It's a very, very, very fun feeling, right? It doesn't matter if it's your first time or your 10th time. It's great no matter what happens when it happens, okay? It's exhilarating not just to get to $100,000 in a 24-hour period. It's exhilarating to make $10,000 in a 24-hour period. What if you started with $10,000 and it doubled? That's exhilarating, right? Let alone 20, let alone 40, let alone 30. And that's kind of the main point here that I'm trying to say is that when I invested, I was at work. I was literally at work. It was late at night, and then we pumped going into the new day. Even this really all did happen within like a 24-hour period. It looks like it happened within 2 days, but it happened within a 1 day period, a 24-hour period. I was at work, and I'm with one of my buddies, and thankfully it's a good buddy. He doesn't get jealous. Some people get jealous, and you should be aware, right? Don't share your wealth with everybody. Some people get jealous, and that's not a good thing. But if you have people who you can trust, or people who you like, people who are your friends that you know will be happy for you when you're making money, that's fine. And you guys see what I mean by getting sidetracked? I get so sidetracked, man. I was working with my buddy, and I'm like, dude, look at this. I just made $10,000. Like I went from 8K to 10K or to 20K. He's like, dude, good job. He's like, get out, sell. What are you doing? Get out. Good job. You did the thing. Wonderful. Fantastic. Right? That was probably at about like here in this overall move, right? We weren't anywhere near being done. And I was like, nah, I'm going to hold. Throughout this time, there was some volatility. It went from 20K back down to 15K, my portfolio. And then he's like, see, dude, if it was me, I would have sold at 20K. If it was me, if I was in charge, you would have had 20K right now. But no, you didn't listen to me. And then it went down to 15K, and then within that same hour, it came back up, and now it's at 40K. He's like, dude, oh my God, you did it. My buddy's literally like, you did it. Sell now. What are you doing? 40K. That's so much money. You could do so much with that. Get out now. And I'm like, I'm going to wait. We're going to see. And that 40K dropped back down to 20K. He's like, dude, what are you doing? You should sell now. Just take your 20K and run. What are you doing? I told you to sell 40K. If it was me, I would have had 40K. And I'm like, I'm just going to wait and see how it plays out. This is Dogecoin. Elon Musk likes it. I'm going to buy it, whatever. I'm just going to hold. I'm going to wait and see how it goes. And then that 40K went to 80K. And then it went from 80K to 60K. And he's like, dude, you should have sold at 80K. I would have sold at 80K. Do you hear where the point of the story is going to? Eventually, it went all the way up to prices above $100,000, and which was insane, absolutely insane. And my buddy looks at me and he's like, dude, sell it now. If I was you, I would be selling at 100K, no questions asked, what are you doing? And I looked him in the eyes, and for the first time I said, no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't have sold at 100K. You would have sold at 20K. You probably would have sold at 15K. You would have sold every step along the way, and the purpose, the moral behind this is just a 10x move, going from 10K to 100K, let alone what it turned into overall, right? From that point to the all-time high, that was an overall move. That was a 96x. On Robinhood, it actually got to a 97x, I remember. 97x there we go, yeah. It actually got to a 97x overall. And I didn't sell. I did sell, actually, I'm not going to lie, I actually did sell the top, and I literally bought the bottom. I actually killed it. That was the only trade I made, and I didn't sell. We did sell not the top. I did sell later at various points. We didn't time it perfectly at the top, but we really killed it last cycle, guys, with this stuff. All I'm trying to say, though, is that the main point being that on the road to a 10x, let alone a 100x, there's going to be a 2x, a 3x, a 5x. There's going to be the 20x, the 40x. There's going to be that temptation to take profits. And don't get me wrong, you want to take profits. You should take profits. If you have life-changing wealth, take profits, go change your life. Do that. Don't let me stop you from, and none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But it's on you as an investor, as a trader, as somebody involved in the crypto space, to be aware of what it is that you're holding. Because it might sound like anybody can make a 100x, but the reality is most of you out there are like my buddy. You would have taken the 20 grand. You would have taken the 40 grand. You would have taken the 50 grand. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have held until that turned into 100K. And then at that point, you're selling halfway through the move. Might you be emotional and by the top of it keeps pumping, and then you take those gains and you diminish them by being emotional. Sometimes it's best, and oftentimes actually enough, not even sometimes, but oftentimes enough, the moral here is that if you want to squeeze that lemon, you want to juice that lemon for all it's worth, you got to let things play out. And what that'll mean throughout your time as an investor, if you live like this like I do, what that means is that you'll be holding a coin and one day it pumps 50%. And you're not selling because you think that it's got more to go, or that it might have more to go. You expect it to go higher by the end of the cycle. And then it's one of those days where it goes up 50%, and then the next 5 days it gives it all back. You're going to miss those little short-term pumps. But if you want to be a part of the massive moves, the life-changing wealth moves that happen, you can't get distracted. You can't get distracted. And this is where conviction needs to come in. You can only have conviction. I had conviction in Dogecoin because I've been in crypto since 2015. I thought Dogecoin was a scam. I thought it was stupid. I hated Dogecoin. But then I see Elon Musk talking about it. He puts it in a light and in a perspective. And I'm like, you know what? It kind of makes sense. I'm going to make a play off of this. I'm going to invest in this. And I've seen how it goes before. I'm going to wait until we're at least at new all-time highs, which is exactly what I did. And it worked out very, very well. And that's kind of the whole thought there is I wouldn't have held if I just bought because Elon Musk bought, right? If I just bought because Elon Musk bought, then I would have sold as soon as I doubled my money, or sold as soon as I made some money, right? I bought because I looked at the charts, I looked at the market cap, I listened not just to what Elon Musk said, and not just because he said he liked Dogecoin, but because of the irony and the way that the universe kind of works. I heard the story, and I bought into it, and it worked out, right? That's how any investment is. You hear the story, you hear the game plan, you hear the blueprint, you buy into it, and hopefully it works out. But it's not going to work out, or it's not going to work out to its full potential if you sell at a 2x when it could have 10x. If you sell, you are your own worst enemy. So a lot of people think getting a 100x is as simple as buying it and then holding until the 100x and then you sell there. Boom, it's that simple. Just buy and hold. That's it. But you're going to have moments where your portfolio fluctuates, where you go from 20 grand back to 15 grand, where you go from 80 grand back to 40 grand, and it'll still come back anyways. Throughout this whole remainder of the cycle, crypto is going to be volatile. We're going to look back between now and April, whenever it's the end of 2026, we're going to look back at this phase of the market and we're going to remember it as if it was just this straight up moment. Not right now. Things are down. Things are boring. I get it. But we're at the forefront of this exciting moment in crypto. Mark my words, in about a year, we're going to look fondly back to this time and the next 6 to 7 months as a straight shot up. But I'm telling you that there are going to be several moments, more than several, where we get significant pullbacks along the way. Where, yes, there will be a 100x, but you're going to have to sit through, or maybe a 20x. Maybe, you know, for the average person, I think that a 20x is actually very, very doable by the end of the cycle. I think the average altcoin will 20 to 25x. But you're going to have to sit through a 5x, and then that 5x is going to have to come back down to a 2x, and maybe even down to something less than a 2x, and then it's going to have to come back up. You're going to have to sit through that volatility. There will be 30% drops, there will be 50% drops, there will be 60% drops, all along the way to what will inevitably be a 20x or more. And you're not going to get there if you get distracted with these little pivots, okay? I want everybody to lock in. I want you to do what I like to say, make your bed and lay in it, okay? Have some conviction in your plays, have some faith in your plays. And if you think that the end of the bull market is in December, cool, sell there. If you think like me, it's in Q2 of 2026, cool, wait until then. We're going to be looking at the charts. We're going to be aware of all these different metrics that are going on and different signals and looking and paying attention to make sure that we're not, hopefully, selling at the wrong time, selling too late or too early. But, you know, I very much believe that the end of the market's going to be sometime in April or May of 2026 for the average altcoin. Maybe June, genuinely, sometime in Q2. If it's earlier or later, we're going to be paying attention to the charts and we're going to be very aware of the circumstances to make sure that we're not just adhering to that. But specifically right now, I do believe April, May, that's when we're going to top off. If you want to sell earlier, if you want to sell later, that's on you. That's up to you. That's totally fine. But have a plan. Have a plan and don't get distracted along the way. If you think the end of the market is in December, at like Christmas Day or New Year's Day, or maybe it's the 5th of January, I don't know, if you think it's there, what business do you have selling at all in November when everything's kicking off and pumping? Just because we've seen gains, and we've seen it happen a lot this cycle, where coins will pump and then they give it all back, or they consolidate and they just slowly give it all back. And if you just sold on those pumps, you would have been in a much better position. Those days are gone. Those days are gone, and you need to hear that. Those days are gone. What's coming is non-stop, persistent growth that week over week, month over month continues. But amidst that persistence will be volatility. And in the midst of that volatility, we are going to remember, like trauma, all these moments in this bull cycle, which there's been so many, where various cryptos pumped, and if you just sold that 1 week that it pumped, you would have actually been way better off waiting for the months for it to come back. You would have been way better off. It's not going to be like that anymore. We're going to deal with very persistent price action, and you as an investor need to get out of your own way. If you want to sell in December, that's fine. Why are you selling in November? If you want to sell in February, that's fine. Why are you selling in December? You know what I mean? If you're like me, I'm expecting the end of the bull market to be in April, May, or June, right? Probably April, May. What business do we have selling anything? Unless it's a short-term trade, there should always, if you're trading and you have small bags, that's not what I'm talking about. There's always exceptions. But with your main bags, what business do you have selling until then, right? Don't get caught up, don't get swept up in the volatility, because you are your own worst enemy at this point in time. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. I just wanted to share that experience with you guys that again, I looked at my buddy in the eyes and I'm like, no, I love you, but no, you would have not done a 10x, bro. You would have sold it at 2x. And knowing him, hell, he probably would have sold it at 50% gain, because that's good. 50%'s great. 100%'s great. 500%, that's great. But to get to a 1,000% growth, to get to a 10,000% growth, you have to sit through a 9,000% growth. You have to sit through a 9,009. You know what I mean? You got to sit through it. Don't get it in your head like I did, okay? Like I did here. Another key takeaway is I told myself I'm going to get 100x. This will be my first 100x. That's what's going to happen. I had a 97x and that wasn't good enough. I needed the 100x. Elon Musk was talking about Dogecoin on Saturday Night Live. That was the top. I should have seen it coming. Obviously, Sell the News event should have seen it coming, but I ignored it because I wanted a 100x. Get over yourself. Don't hold on to that ego. If you get a 95x, I promise you, it's okay. That's fine. You don't need 100x. If you're looking for a 25x but you're sitting at a 22x, that's fine. Okay. If the markets are looking like we're at a point, if there's a key focal point of news-driven events like Elon Musk being on Saturday Night Live talking about being the Doge father, talking to the whole world about Dogecoin, a very overhyped, overplayed situation. If something like that happens, use your brain. Don't don't use your excitement and ego thinking that you deserve a 100x or whatever x it is. Every single one of you watching this video, at least at this point, you deserve life-changing wealth. You absolutely do. And it's going to come your way if you let it. You have to let it, okay? Don't get in your own way. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? I'm very excited. I'm very excited to hear all the success stories. We're months away from that, but hopefully this helps get you there. Take care. Bye-bye.